Joining us now is one of Jesse Jackson Jr.'s opponents for the 2nd District, Republican Brian Woodworth. Good morning. Thanks for being here.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
So what is your reaction to, well, first let me ask you why you got in the race.
Well, the first issue is the redistricting. When they extended the borders down to include all of Kankakee County, I reflected on how things had changed. Of course, our current representative, Adam Kinzinger, had gone to the district to the west, which left us without a Republican opponent at the time. When I went out and got my petitions, I didn't realize I had a primary opponent until after we'd already got the signatures. But there's a bigger issue here, and that's the idea that I don't believe that Jackson has been doing a good job representing his own district over the last 5-6 years, much less what he would be able to do now that Will and Kankakee counties are included into that.
What is your reaction to the recent developments with the investigation?
Well, this is another investigation, one on top of the other. We have the House Ethics Commission, which came out with a probable cause determination how many years ago. There's been the rumor of an investigation over the girlfriend incident. Here's another investigation. Nothing's closed. We have no determinations. Is he guilty? Is he not? Are we going to have a trial, an indictment? It's not the issue that there's an investigation, though. The problem is the corruption, the cloud of corruption, the perception that follows him. It's destroyed his credibility. There's not going to be people who are going to negotiate with him. Business leaders aren't going to trust him and listen to him. We already have the example from the Lafarge plant that went to Iowa instead of Illinois. One reason the owner said he went to Iowa instead of Illinois, despite the sweetheart deal, was corruption in Illinois. And so our congressman, who has that perception, guilty or not, the perception of it is affecting bringing business back into the state.
How do you feel his handling of this situation with his illness over the summer and his communication or lack thereof with his constituents has been handled?
Well, for a representative, it's abysmal. I mean, you have to have communication. Any person who's going to represent the district has to communicate with the people in his district, and he's not doing any of that. It's perfectly fine for him to go out and cavort in bars in D.C., but he's not coming and talking to his people, to the people in the district, which should have been the first place he's gone. Not to flee and hide in D.C., but to come back to Chicago and face his voters.
Let me ask you about education. You have a background in education. What do we do in this country about holding teachers accountable when the learning experience in Inglewood may be very different than the learning experience in Winnetka? And what do you do about 40 kids in a class?
Mm-hmm. You're hitting on one big issue, and that's with the federal government. The federal government, as they keep redefining more regulations, they're putting more and more pressure on teachers to meet guidelines. Now, I understand we need to have our kids meeting certain criteria, meeting standards that allows us to compete on a global scale, but it's removing that community education ability of the teachers, the principal, the school boards to make those determinations. And so this is one thing where I believe the federal government needs to back off and allow the communities to do the education the way the teachers and those principals and the boards understand that to be.
Jesse Jackson Jr. has been representing his district for 16 years. He's on that powerful House Appropriations Committee. Mm-hmm. There's people in his district that love Jesse Jackson Jr. Mm-hmm. What can you say to those people that you can do differently and that you can bring to the table?
Well, keep in mind there's one big issue here, and that's that the House appropriations, or any appropriations, the way that the congressman's been doing it in the past through the earmark process, has been abolished in the House. You can't just stick an earmark into any bill now. And that's his primary mode. So his wings have been clipped. He doesn't have that power. So even being on the Appropriations Committee is not going to help him bring back the bacon. It's got to be done through legitimate, open means, through presentation of bills. I'm willing to do that. I can work within the structure that's in place, not based on something 10 years ago, but how we work it today.
Very quickly, most Republicans have signed the Norquist no tax pledge. Would you sign that pledge?
I have not. I have not signed it, and the primary reason is our tax law needs to be completely rewritten. It was first written in 1986, before the Berlin Wall fell, before the internet, before a globalized economy. We need to take that tax code, toss it, completely rewrite it. And how that end product is going to be, when we start getting rid of loopholes, exceptions, and exclusions, I can't guarantee that there won't be increases or decreases.
All right, Brian Woodworth, Republican candidate for the 2nd Congressional District. Thanks for being here.
Thank you very much.